Thank you very much for that, Young. I think even I picked up a couple of little tips there from that presentation, with some of the newer features as well. It just shows how much Katalon Studio have come in the last few years. Outcome after a year journey with Katalon Studio. I wanted this slide in just to give have a real world discussion around how things have been in the last few years for myself and my team. After my first year using Katalon a few years ago, I had created about 1,000 test cases for the company I worked for. And now with the talented team that I have the honor to work with, 3 years on, we are on 7,000 plus test cases for both private and government institutions, right? So it just goes to show how much faith we have in Katalon Studio at the moment. On average, with core features usually being targeted first when setting up an automation framework, the number of manual testing hours decrease by at least 40%. This, as I mentioned earlier, this extra time saved gives manual testers the opportunity to continue upskilling and keeping ahead of this rapidly changing industry that we all working, right? When it comes to frequency, I always say, and this all depends on the customer's requirements. We have worked with some businesses who continuous integration and continuous development pipelines are very mature, and they wanted automation tests to be run with any and every dev code committed to source control during the day. So we are talking about 5, maybe to 10 times daily in a continuous development approach. And on the other hand, I have worked with businesses whose automation executions was still, to be honest, very manual. So say every morning before developers began working, someone will manually click the button on Katalon and the automation tests got executed. So I believe for that, it's very important to not have a mindset of one size fits all. I believe we need to always keep the customer in mind and kind of work through with them to see where they are within their automation pipelines and where they are within automation within the business as a whole, and decide from there. So it's very relative. It's very, very relative. And on average number of detected defects and incidents per release, in my experience, tend to be around 20% on average, right? Anything much higher than that, I believe that company or that business will need to start to look into, they'll have to look into it a bit. As usually, if something like that is happening, if something over 20% is happening, somewhere in the application, there is a area, or as they say in the industry, a hotspot that needs investigating and rectifying. We don't want, as a tester, we all know this, even from a manual tester point of view, you don't want to be testing places that it seems bug riddled. We need to be able to feed that information back into our managers and into the business. And I think automation is something that spots these things really, really quickly. And that leads me on to the conclusion. Firstly, when it comes to what my team did to make transition smooth, firstly, early adoption to test automation is worth the effort, right? One of the biggest reasons I've seen over the years when teams and businesses are considering automation is the questions they ask themselves is, when should we start? And to me, the answer is always the same: right now. Automation in its simplest form, even if it can save a few minutes or a few hours or a few days, that's you and your team heading in the right direction, right? So there is no time like the present. Secondly, choosing the right solutions is a key point. Katalon Studio is a great tool for novices as well as highly technical testers, right? But there are many other tools out there like Testcraft, Perfecto, and software like Cloud QA, which is also feature rich, and some of them even have AI assistants while testing. But 90% of my clients, after demoing those other software solutions, always find Katalon Studio the most user-friendly and pragmatic, right? Also, when choosing what to automate, think of anything repetitive, maybe to get a quick win, or focus on a part of your application that is troublesome or even critical to the application's core operations, right? That's what we need to really look at when deciding where to start. Our best practices. Thirdly, my own best practice within myself and my team for a long time, and we always tend to work with it and evolve as time goes on, is to make this transition smoothly for a team that is totally new to automation. I would say start with the recording and playback feature, very similar to what Young have showed us a few moments ago. Over the years, this have improved a lot, and it's easy to get you started. As Young showed there, you can get up and running quite easily. After a few weeks of practice, I would advise to maybe move to the manual mode in Katalon, where you build the automation tests step by step using something like the Object Spy. That's the system my team and I uses when training new customers, and they find it easy to digest as they familiarize themselves with the software. And just to cap things off about subcoding book and my training program, I believe if you follow those steps I just highlighted there, you will be well on your way to automation mastery. As always, if you need more information and to learn a bit more about myself and my team, you can always download my free book, Stop Coding, on Amazon and all major ebooks outlets. Also, for our readers and for my readers and listeners, my team and I have heard your requests, and I'm proud to announce here that we are actively working on a training program where we work closely with individuals to teach them all the latest techniques in the testing industry. Our hope is to do one-to-one sessions in preparing you for ISTQB examinations. That's something that have been asked of me over the last couple of years from people who's just coming into the testing industry. We want to give our students a focus and attention I wish I had when I started off in the automation industry. We are working on building automation testing training with real world applications. And I think as a whole, I want to create a program that gives all our students the best possible shot at becoming an automation testing engineer in this rapidly growing market. The program, though, is still in progress. So if you're interested, please contact us on social media or via our website, stopcoding.co.uk, and subscribe to our various channels. Only then we can put you on the waiting list. When we go live, it's a first come, first serve basis, so don't delay. And yeah, thank you all. And thank you everyone for being here with us today. I know everyone's busy and I personally appreciate your time. So thank you.
So, okay, thank you, Asmar. So I believe that there are many questions from the audience, but I think we all don't have time for answers on that. So we will follow up with you guys with the question on the forum later. But other than that, I see one very, great and tricky question here from one of the audience. So he asking about how to maintain 7,000 test cases. So I think it's a great question. So Azamor, can you share some ideas on for the questions? Yep.
Yeah. For the 7,000 test automation tests we have built is over the last 3 years, right? So it's from different, because what me and my team do is we work with different companies to help them decide their automation solutions. So it's not just in one business, it's spread across many different, of quite a few companies. But to go even further, I think maintaining these tests, the first thing you need to do is break them up into modules. I can't stress that enough. I think one of the worst things to do is probably keep all the tests in one place. We need to focus on core areas, and those core areas, we need to have those tests. It's almost like smoke tests, but those tests that focuses particularly on things that need to be working for your application, and then we kind of flesh it out from there. So we work on a prioritization system, whereas the core features or something like that for your application, those are maintained first. So those are looked after first. It's usually plugged into some of the devs pipelines, and the others, we can take them as they come and just more or less see how it goes when it comes to how much testing they need to be done, if that feature is if anything around that feature is being changed or anything like that. So I think you'll have to make decisions around how much tests you want to run, because I think if you just run all of them all at once, all the time, I believe you'll have quite a lot of maintenance to be doing. So I think there is a need to prioritize some of your maintenance efforts.
Okay, so thank you, Asmor, for that. So from my understanding, like modularizations, prioritizations, and make decision on what important for automate and as well as execution is the key for maintaining just large amount of test cases, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yet.
so thank you, Azamor. Thanks you, everyone. So before leaving, can you? I will launch a poll. So can you have give us like couple of seconds to do the poll? It really, I mean, precious for us to have feedback from you guys from the poll, because it really help us to make things better and better. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, again for joining. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, we can speak again.